Hello everybody, it's your pal Grish.
Well, first of all, you're way too loud and squeaky. Second of all, how are you?
Hello everybody, it's your pal.
Hold on, you're not supposed to. Okay, stop. This is super weird. I thought I discarded all of you. You better have a good reason for being here. What about you in the corner? Got nothing to say? Hang on, let me just... Sorry about that, everyone. Some technical difficulties, but it does actually relate to this video because what we're going to be doing today is talking about my Sona and everything about it to celebrate hitting 100 subscribers on this channel. Since I've been on YouTube for a while and I've created many versions of this design, I thought it would be cool to talk about my past designs and thought process about them. Before we start with that, I do want to clarify something. This character design you're seeing right here isn't actually really me or how I would draw me. In actuality, this is how I would draw me. At first, the character design you usually see would have been how I would draw myself, but they've evolved into their own character, acting more as my mascot. They even have a name, which is just Sona. They even have their own lore.
Wait.
So anyway, this video is going to be more of me just rambling about this character design, which is why you'll see this in my Everything About My OCs playlist, since I think it technically counts. Anyway, let's start at the very beginning with the very first drawing I ever drew of them. This one. Back in the day when I drew on an Amazon Kindle with my finger, a lot of their first design choices were based off of aspects of myself, of course. The hoodie is based off of one that I have, and yes, it's super long, so the sleeve thing is realistic. Their hair being a dark pink was probably just a stylistic choice, and I did actually have this pink hair streak at the time, although I don't anymore. Sona still does, but I'll talk about why later. And of course we have the crown. Now, I actually don't remember why I added it in the design, so I can't really talk about that, unfortunately. But it's obviously become a key part of the overall design as it's been in every version. Although you'll notice that it's actually colored differently, having some pink in it rather than all white with pink outlines. And of course we have the pink eyes. Can you tell that pink is my favorite color? And then the fang, of course. It's always been there. Gotta add fang. Actually, I do have really sharp canines. That's why they've always been there. Anyway, moving on to the second ever drawing, which is this one. Interesting to note that this is the only drawing that they don't have their hair streak. And that's just because I forgot to add it and never went back and fixed it. This drawing is really special to me because it's the first ever drawing that I used the ring light effect to shade the eyes with, which is what I've done in pretty much every drawing after that. I did this because I was watching something while I was drawing it and noticed that in the people's eyes, they had a ring around their pupils, which is caused by having a ring light in front of them. I thought this looks cool, so I replicated it here. It's one of the first instances I can think of as an artist where I studied something from real life and took it into my own style. I didn't really have much to say about the design other than that now the crown is its normal color, but the outline is just a more brighter color here, which is said for pretty much the overall design being a much brighter than it is now, being a much more desaturated color palette. And now I'll get into some of the earliest sprites I made for this channel when I was first starting. Instead of talking about the design, I'll talk about the art style, the process of making these, and my thoughts about the videos used in them. So the first ever sprite I made was this guy, which I never actually ended up using. I was working on my computer at this point and still admitting paint. However, I definitely worked on the very wrong size because if you zoom in even a little bit, it's just pixels and not in a good way. For some reason, I thought it'd be a good idea to have both of their arms up at all times, and you can see slightly that some of their legs are showing, which you might notice is something I brought back for their current sprites. I also definitely planned ahead way too much because I made so many sprites. Like, so many. It took me so long, and like I said, I didn't end up using any of them, so that's great. I think the reason why was because even then I didn't really like how they turned out, because I made the next set of sprites just a couple of months later. You can kind of tell since the styles are slightly different, and I think I made the last one at a time in my art journey where I wasn't liking how my style was looking, which has happened a lot to me. I don't actually think I ended up using them for a lot of videos either, since this was around the era where I didn't talk in a lot of my more chill speed paint videos. I mean, I don't use my sprites and chill speed paint videos even now, but it was, at the very beginning of my channel, and I did use them for some of the first tutorials I made, which I honestly think were poorly made, and I don't really agree with most of the advice I said or how I said it. It's very you need to do this, and I don't agree with that. Maybe I'll come back to those videos and update them to be more accurate with what I know now. However, they were the sprite that I used for a while, even as my style changed pretty drastically. So the next year I made this one, which if I remember correctly, I also didn't use for many other videos. At this point in time, I wasn't even making mini videos, so they kind of got forgotten about. A lot of things about my style have clearly changed at this point, like how I shaded the hair and the anatomy, but a lot of things stayed the same, mainly how I didn't use a textured brush for the line art and how I just drew lines for the eyebrows. However, I did finally start using a bigger file size, so it's not so pixely when you zoom in. You'll also notice that throughout all of these sprites, their design hasn't changed at all. That was until 1 year later, when I was making an official ref sheet for them. It was here where they got the most changes in their design. These include the hair streak going from bright pink to light pink, and their blue sleeves. I added the blue in there to their design as a balancing point, since beforehand it was just a lot of pink, with the only other colors being white in the stripe and the black or dark gray in the leggings and boots. Also, I tricked you. These were just the trans flag colors the whole time, you fool. You can't escape the fact that I'm non-binary. Ha! I tricked you. Anyway, this version of the sprite is one that I used way more often, and unlike the other ones, I made the right choice of making way less of these, only making a few emotions that I knew I would need the most. They also have a version where their arms are down, but for the most part, this one arm was always up. Like I said, I did end up using this one a lot, and using it for a while. Although more interestingly is, I ended up making new sprites almost exactly 1 year from each other, being around May to June, which is exactly when I made this sprite you're seeing right now. This one has been my most expressive one so far, since I gave them more poses for their arms. The hair streak also changed, where all the other versions I used an airbrush to imply it and had it running to the very end of the hair. I also used the smudge tool to kind of to smudge it out at the very top. Kind of hard to explain, but for this one I just stuck to the bangs and used a hard brush. And of course the crown has stayed the same throughout all of these design wise. This sprite was also the first one that I made in Clip Studio, and I really like this current sprite and I do want to use it for a while. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. If you've enjoyed, feel free to check the like button, and again, thank you so much for over 100 subscribers. You can check out my artworks on my Instagram link below and my 3 comics on my webtoon. With that, I'll see you guys. Whoa, hey! Ah! Ow! I hate when that happens. Huh? Ah, dang it!